Welcome! These are the Winco KS-03 kitchen shears. My past experience with Winco products has been great. They put together all these functional tools. Very well made, very effective, and at the same time very affordable. Unfortunately, this particular pair of shears, this product, falls a little bit short of expectations. And I'm going to talk about why later in this video. I'm going to be breaking up this review into 4 sections. First, I'm going to give an overview of how this product works and take measurements. Then, I'm going to talk about functionality. Afterwards, I'll cover fit and finish. And finally, I'll talk about value. We'll start by taking our measurements. We can see that these shears measure in at an overall length of 10 inches with approximately 2¼ inch cutting surface and about a 5-inch handle length. We can see the way these operate. We have a clip over here that holds the handles in place. We'll release the clip, and these blades are spring loaded, so you don't need to open it up by hand. These will retract by themselves. So as you clench the handle and then you loosen it, the spring loaded blades will retract on their own. When you're done with the shears, you'd simply take your clip, put it right over the handle, and this will close them up for safety. You can hang them over here for storage, and for cleaning, you just open them up and you clean off the areas you can access. Now for a quick demo. Over the past week, I've been using these shears to process some chicken. I've gone through quite a few birds, and I put together this quick clip to show you how it's done. Here we have a little chicken, about 6 months old or so. It's already been cleaned on the inside, though we'll need to take out the lungs in a little bit. And we are going to cut them into a few pieces using the Winco poultry shears. So let's begin. We have our legs here. We're just going to trim the skin here. And this is a young bird, so I don't expect it will be much of a challenge since the bones are a little small. Now we're going to flip over our bird. We're going to look for the backbone here. We're just going to cut along both sides of the backbone. Now we're starting to feel a little bit of resistance. But it's doable. We're going to do one side. We're going to come around and do the other side. Just holding it tight with one hand, watching my fingers as I move along. Now I noticed as I'm doing this, sometimes the handle goes sideways. It locks up on me. I wonder if with a little bit more use I'll stop doing that, but whenever I encounter resistance, this seems to happen. Here we go. We have a backbone going up all the way to the neck. Here we go. And we are going to separate the neck out from the backbone. So this is working pretty well so far. Definitely easier than going the route with a knife. Now we have our chicken split down its back. And now we are going to go right through its breast here. Go. We're just going to go through one side, cutting right through its breast here. There we go. That was fast. As I said, I'll need to remove the lungs, and I will do that in a little bit. But first, I'm going to take out the leg here, and this is very easy to do. Now, at this point, you can serve it just like this. If you want a larger piece of chicken, especially with a smaller chicken like this, you can take out the lungs, then you can do it in the oven or prepare it how you like. But I want to go into a bit more detail. I want to separate the legs out from the white meat. I want the wings separated out as well. So I'm going to continue. Perfect, look at that. What a nice leg. I'm going to repeat that with the other side of my chicken. Perfect. Look at that. We got our wings separated out, we got our legs separated out, and we've got our white meat separated out. Now our neck here, I don't really like the backbone. I want to discard the backbone. I want to separate out the neck. So I'm just going to cut right down the middle here. Now this is a little bit tricky with the poultry shears. I can do it because it's a young bird. But I suspect with an older bird, you're going to have a harder time. With a rooster, a larger turkey, you're not going to be able to do that just there. This part over here I'm going to discard. There's just not a lot of meat on there. And the rest of this is ready to put together after I remove the lungs. So there you have it, the Winco poultry shears. Now at first glance, these shears look great. All of these solid steel, forged, two-piece. So one piece for one blade, one piece on the other blade. There's no attachment points between the blade and the handle. These are very solid. That's one thing I really like about these shears. They're very, very solid. Notice the little drop here in the blades. This helps a lot. When you're cutting through meats, this drop here helps clench on to the meat that you're trying to cut. It makes it so it doesn't slip out of the way. It's a great feature to have. It makes it a lot easier to work with. The handle's comfortable. It fits your hand well. I've used this on a number of birds and they get greasy. They get slippery. But even so, I've never had a trouble with them slipping out of my hand. The grip is always really solid, always seems to stay in my hand where it belongs. Now on to the last aspect of functionality, which is unfortunately the drawback with these shears. The pivot bolt. As you can see, we have a little slot in the pivot bolt where a screwdriver would fit. Unfortunately, I have not been able to get these loose. I nearly stripped the head off the screw. And this is a problem because these blades here, the tolerance is just way too loose. When you're cutting with it, in practice, what you find is that food gets wedged between the blades and they get stuck. A good way to observe this is look at the distance in the blades. I'm going to bring it up a little closer. And as I gently press, see how they're separating? This is what happens whenever you try to cut through tough foods. The blades separate apart and the food gets wedged in between them rather than the shears cutting through. It's a big problem. The other issue you see because of the loose tolerance is when you're cutting through tough meats and you clench your grip too hard. This happens. Where the handles cross, see? They cross and then the shears, well, they get a little bit bent and then they jam up and they get stuck. Both of these fixable if we only had a way to tighten up this pivot bolt, which unfortunately I have not been able to find a way to do. Out of the box, everything was in good shape. I don't see any rough edges on the handle anywhere where you're working. Perhaps this little pivot area could scratch you, but even that seems minor. Everything is polished really nicely. I don't see any scratches. And these are ready to use out of box. The cost of these shears, it's only $7, which is an amazing price for stainless steel shears. And this would be an amazing bargain if it wasn't for that flaw in the pivot, because this makes them very, very difficult to use for even simple tasks. These shears are acceptable for occasional use. I've worked with them over the past week, cleaned up 6 or 7 birds, and I managed to get it done. However, if you have anything more than that, if you're planning to use these on a daily basis to process several chickens a day, I'd look into getting something a little bit better. They have a tendency to jam, as I mentioned before, and that is going to get in the way of your work. But if you're only looking for the occasional shear to chop up some herbs, to clean the occasional small chicken, and you don't mind having to deal with the frequent jams and the loose tolerances on this pivot, then these might be right for you. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have questions, please let me know in the comment section and I will do my best to answer them.